I will be doing a quick tank review for the Swedish Tier 8 TD, the UDES 03. This TD, for its tier, it is pretty good once you get used to the vehicle's strengths and weaknesses. This TD have a lot of the same traits as its predecessor. Papers and armor, quite mobile and having a very good gun. As long as you use the correct tactics at the right time, you can do quite well in this tank, especially when it is fully upgraded. This vehicle being paper thin like its predecessor, if you're at the wrong place at the wrong time, you can be killed easily enough. Let's get into the vehicle stats now. Let's begin off with the vehicle stats. You have fantastic firepower, mobility, concealment, especially when you use the right combination of perks, and the equipment as seen here with fantastic view range to match. Let's begin off with the firepower. The top gun you will be using, it is a 10.5 centimeter gun, which have a decent rate of fire with fantastic damage potential per shot with great penetration, accuracy, and aiming time when you have a good crew and equipment setup, as seen here. I have about 6 rounds per minute with a reload time of 10 seconds, which is pretty nice, with a aiming time of just underneath 3 seconds and a accuracy of 0.34. So as long as I fully aim in onto my target, I can penetrate the set enemy armor spot most of the time, as long as I know where to aim the gun at. With a fantastic about 2.4 thousand damage per a minute potentially. So if you get yourself into the right position at the right time, you can easily rack up the damage potentially, especially when you're playing this thing as a medium to a long distance sniper potentially. This tank, the gun, it is built into the hull here, so the gun traverse, it is not that great. So you need to turn the tank around. But with the great gun traverse and hull traverse you have, you can quickly turn this tank around in a hurry if need be. The gun traverse left to right, it is 0. With the gun depression downward, 14, upward 20. So that is pretty good. The one thing that I like about the tank when it is in its siege mode is when you're in the siege mode and firing, you can turn the tank and have the vehicle camouflage in it and binocular telescope on activated at the same time, so you can retain that view range until you move. Now, the vehicle survival ability, it is not that great. 1,000 hit points, so you can take a few hits before you're killed. Unfortunately, the armor, it is completely rubbish. 20 millimeters in the front, side and rear. The armor in the front, it is angled, so if you angle the armor well enough at times, you can ricochet a few rounds. Besides that, everything is going to be penetrating you pretty much with the papers and armor you have in the front, side, and rear. The crew members and modules, they can be damaged easily enough. And you only have 3 crew members. So, with a single well-placed shot to the right part of the tank, you can potentially have all of the crew members and modules knocked out with a well-placed shot, potentially in theory. So, distance, it is your friend, especially if you want to avoid enemy fire and survive long enough to do quite well in this tank. Now, the vehicle mobility, it is fantastic for weighing about 21 tons, fully upgraded. With a top engine of 550 horsepower, your horsepower to ton ratio, it is about 26 horsepower to 1 ton. So with 26 horsepower, you can easily reach the 70-kilometer top speed mark going across flat terrain, or reverse speed of 50 as well. So with that horsepower to ton ratio, this thing is quite mobile on flat terrain going forward or backwards. The hold reverse and the hold traverse and the gun traverse is pretty good, about 30. So as long as you know a enemy is coming to you, you can easily turn this tank around in a hurry and shoot them if they came close to you. Generally having backup around you will help increase the chance of you surviving from a said enemy tank flanking you. The siege mode and travel mode, it only takes 2 seconds to switch in between the two, so you can switch between the two and get out of a bad situation and relocate yourself somewhere else. Now, the vehicle concealment, it is fantastic. With the camouflage perk I have, combined with the camouflage net, when I am not moving, it is 63. So as long as I don't move, use the cover around me, I am pretty much invisible to the enemy radar until I am seen. While the concealment on the move, it is pretty good, about 29. So as long as I use the terrain around me to my full advantage, I can stay off of the enemy radar for the most part. Just like the E25 and said low silhouette TDs, this is quite a stealthy TD to actually snipe with when it comes to medium and long range using the terrain to hide yourself. Now, with the vehicle view range being fantastic, you can easily have your maximum view range be up to 450 meters, which is the maximum view range, when you're especially using the binocular telescope. It is about 460 for me here, with the top radio and the crew bonus making it about 900 meters. So this tank, when it comes to the view range and signal range department, you're not going to have a problem staying within communication range with your team, or to get shots off at a distance. Now, let's cover the research part of the tank. To get to the tier 9 TD ASAP, you will just have to research the top pair of tracks and Top Gun only. Besides that, you will have to research everything on this tank pretty much, as it is only usable on the TD here only, except for the radios, the RA400 and the RA421. That is researchable on the Swedish medium and heavy tank line. So if you went down the Swedish light, medium, and heavy tank line, then you would have the radios unlocked already. If not, and you went through the Swedish TD line like me, then you will have to research the second and third radio. To mount everything onto the tank here, and not go over the weight limit, the tank, you will have to unlock and use the top pair of tracks. From the first pair of tracks to the second, just like most tank tracks, with the increased load limit, your whole traverse speed increases from 26 to 28, which is quite nice. While the engines you have two to use, if you just want to use the first engine throughout the entire grind if you want to, it's a viable idea, as the horsepower to ton ratio and the chance for engine fire, it is not increased by that much. From 550 to 550, from 12 to 10 for the percent for engine fire, the numbers for those two areas increase by a bit. Generally, I would would have the top engine unlocked and used, as having a reduced transfer engine fires and a slightly better horsepower to ton ratio will help with the vehicle mobility when it comes to accelerating the tank from location A to B to having a slightly better horsepower to ton ratio. Radios, you have three to use. The RA 146, which would be in office, the RA 400, which you would have to unlock as it is usable on the medium and heavy tank line, with the 421 as well, being used on the Swedish heavy tank line. Use the top radio right away if you have any of them unlocked, as the radio with the 710 signal range or 850, these are the two best radios to use on this tank. Now to the guns. The 9cm gun that you will begin off with, it is not that great. So if you have the experience lying around, use that experience to unlock the top gun right away, as this will make a world of difference for this tank to make it a somewhat okay TD to a fantastic TD. With the rate of fire decrease from about 9 rounds per minute to 6, you have a increase in the penetration and damage output, which you will have roughly the same accuracy and aiming time still. If you're using the 9cm gun here, the regular AP penetration it is not that great, 210, with APCR 250. If you're using the 9cm gun, it is important to use the premium ammo, the heat rounds, carefully, as you will be needing to use them when you're going up against tier 8, 9, and 10s that have pretty thick armor. While HE it is not that great for both when it comes to the penetration value. I would only use the HE round against semi-armored armored TDs and artillery pieces that you will be going up against still, even including scouts as well. With the HE penetration, you can easily penetrate another UDES as well. With the increased penetration value for the 10.5 centimeter gun, 288 for APCR, 330 for premium APCR, and HE being slightly better, this penetration value will definitely be making those necessary shots against the heavily armored targets you will be going up against in the higher tiers quite easy to penetrate those enemy tanks if you know where to aim the gun at. To unlock the top gun, and it's my recommendation that you save up the necessary experience points to unlock and use the top gun ASAP. It will require you about 52,000 experience points and just underneath 250,000 credits. The tier 9 and 10 tank play roughly the same as the tier 8 tier, so there is not much of a play style difference, except for minor stats differences only. Now I will be covering the consumables, the ammunition layout, the equipment setup, and how are you going to be playing the TD. Let's begin off with the consumables. Consumables, I would go with the first aid kit, repair kit, and a manual fire extinguisher, going with the 3 pieces of consumables that I have here. This is useful for most tanks. Now, if you have the gold or credits lying around, going with the premium consumables, it's not a bad idea. If you want to have a slight increase in the tank tank and crew performance by a bit. Generally going with the small first aid kit, small repair kit, and a manual fire extinguisher is good enough for most tanks consumables. This tank have 40 rounds of ammo, which is okay. Generally, 40 rounds of ammo, that is a lot for this tank. So, most of the matches that I played in this tank, I never run out of ammo in this tank. The only time that you may run out of ammo in this tank, it is in those long matches that you fire most of your ammo already. But those matches are few and far in between, so generally most of the time you will never run out of ammo in this tank. This tank have two ammo types, APCR and HE. Regular round you will be using, it is a PCR with 288 pen, which is good enough to penetrate most tanks at tier 8, 9, and 10 if you know where to aim the gun at, while only saving the premium APCR with 330 pen to use it against the heavily armored targets that you will be going up against in tier 8, 9, and 10 matches. While HE, this round, it is useful still. HE is only useful against debris and the thinly armored targets that you will be going up against still in this tier area. Now the equipment that I went with, it is the camouflage net, binocular telescope, and the gun rammer. Going with these three pieces of equipment, it improved my tank performance when it came to me playing primarily as a medium to a long distance sniper while being a bit of a passive skill for my team at times. The other pieces of equipment that you can use if you want to, the toolbox, not a bad idea as you will have a slightly better repair speed, not by much, 25%. The field tanks is not going to do much for the tank, except make the fuel tank a bit more durable. The enhanced gunning drive is a pretty good piece of equipment as this will reduce what is already a good aiming time by reducing it a bit more, so it is slightly better. Coated optics, this will permanently increase your view range by a bit, and with this piece of equipment and with the crew perks you have, you can easily have up to 450 meters of view range easily now. The medium spall liner, it is not necessary, but if you want to have that extra bit of protection, use it. The enhanced torsion bar, if you just want to use the first pair of tracks only throughout the entire grind, then use the enhanced torsion bar here to increase your load limit by a bit, while improving the tank's suspension durability by a bit and reducing fall damage by a bit. The red ammo rack, it is useful, but most of the time I would generally use red ammo rack for vehicles that actually need this. Primarily certain German heavies and Soviet tanks for sure. The improved ventilation class 2, this will improve the tank performance overall, which is pretty nice. Now, if I was to play this tank primarily more as a very aggressive support frontline type of TD role, while being a bit of a sniper as well, I would go with the enhanced gunning drive, vents, or the coated optics. Now, how are you going to be playing this TD? As a tier 8 TD, you will be getting yourself into tier 8, 9, and 10 matches. Whenever you're top tier, as long as you use the appropriate tactics, you can do quite well in this tank. Same thing for tier 9 and 10 matches. So what roles does the UDES feel quite well? You can do quite well as a passive scout, as a medium to a long distance sniper, or based upon the map, what is going on at the time. You can do quite well in this TD as a very aggressive support frontline sniper type of TD. Generally, I would leave the front line duty roles towards mediums and heavy that can actually fulfill this role better than you. More often than not, I would generally play the UDES more of a medium to a long distance type of tank. So primarily as a sniper, as a support role, or even as a bit of a passive skill for my team if I'm using the terrain around me to hide myself to light up enemy targets for my team. Now I have two replays to show you how well you can do in this tank. The first replay is of me using the first gun still, while the second replay it is of me using the second gun. So you can see how well the two tank guns perform. Let's get to those two replays now. This replay I will be showing you is of me in a tier 8 match to show you how well you can do in the Swedish TD when you're playing the TD quite aggressively. This replay I am using the first gun. During the replay I will mention some of the do's and don'ts when you're playing this TD, as this is a glass cannon pretty much. Just like the German glass cannon TD9, if you want to do quite well in a match for a short amount of time, it is location, location, location to know where you need to go to do quite well. I am getting myself into a good position here so I can assist my team. Now I am looking at the map to see where the enemy tanks are going to be. Most of the time playing on this map, there is always at least a few tanks on the side of the map here, using the church and the hill there as cover to do their push. I let my team's mate on this side light up targets for me. Seeing there the KV, the Korean pathch. I wait for the targets to come into my line of sight, then I'm going to begin to unload the gun. The good thing about the UDES gun is that as long as you lead your gun where the target is going to be, you can more often than not penetrate the enemy target if you know where to aim the gun and the tank armor layout. I am trying to aim the gun at the OI weak spots up front. So far in a minute of firing the gun, I have done about 1000 damage. So far I am doing a good damage output per minute with this gun so far. The two rounds I'm going to be firing here, they ricochet off or is absorbed, doing no damage. Now, this front have fallen for us. So this is where I could flee back to this is where I could flee to the other side of the map if I want to. Seeing the enemy team here have some pretty nimble vehicles, if I did flee, they would probably kill me. So
I'm going to try to do as much damage as I can on this side before I am killed to ensure a win for my team. I am waiting for me to be off of the radar, then reappear to do a bit more damage to the enemy team. Here I'm using the hill here as cover. The Korean pattern there used in mobility to flank to my side and finish me off. This match, it was a victory for us, as me and my teammates on the side of the map here, we weakened the enemy tanks there to allow the rest of the teammates to finish them off easily enough. This match, I did quite well, playing primarily as a very aggressive sniper during the match, doing about 2,300 damage, being a top tier TD. Let's go to the next replay, which I will show you how well you can do in the UDES 03 when you are using the vehicle Top Gun and when it is fully researched. Let's go to that replay now. This replay is of me in a tier 9 match to show you how well you can do in this tank when you're not in a top tier match, and to show off how well you can do in the UDES 03 when it is fully upgraded. First thing first, playing somewhat aggressively, I am going to the center of the field here to be a bit of a passive and also a active scout for my team, getting myself into a position to fire at anything comes into my sight. The T-44 does, so I'm going to fire at it at this range. By this point, I know I have been seen already, so I am trying to relocate elsewhere off of the enemy radar. Unfortunately, that Type 59 and other allies close by see me and begin shooting at me. Knowing I have allies close by, I am heading into the city here to try to get the Type 59 off of my rear. Once the Type 59 have been dealt with, I am going to head back to the north part of the map here to aid my team. The enemy team is making a good push on the left side of the map here. Seeing what their enemy team tactics are, I'm going to try to aid my team here as much as possible by sniping at them at this distance. I tried leading my shots, but that didn't work out as planned. It is 2-2, so things are looking good for the team down below in the corner of the map. They're in the J9 area, but things are not looking so good for me and my team up in the north part of the map. Seeing this, I switched to a location again to try to aid my team, to delay the enemy as long as I can before the enemy overrun the base. I tried firing blindly at the panther there. Unfortunately, I missed. I am trying to get myself into a good defensive position and sniping position here to help my team out. I am using the hill here as cover. By now, things are looking bleak for my team. It's 6-9 and we are losing. At this rate, with the tanks in the city, we're going to lose this match. But before I die, I'm going to do as much damage as I can. The panther I shoot at, using the hill here as cover. That panther see me, and it's going to get into a position where it can potentially shoot at me. I am keeping an eye what is around me. Seeing the Pershing there, I get into the siege mode to shoot at the tank. While reloading, I go back on the other side of the hill there, only showing the necessary part of the tank to shoot at the Pershing. Seeing the Panzer is off of the radar, I am trying to look at the map where the Panther may be. Next. The Panther there is going to fire at me. I blindly fire at it at this range, finishing it off. That Panther left me down to a one-shot kill now. Seeing the T-49 and the AMX there, I'm going to try to finish them off, but I see the AMX 5100 finishing me off before I could get before the AMX 5100 finished me off before I could fire at it by doing the last damaging shot that I can before I died. This match, I did quite well, playing the tank somewhat aggressively and defensively, as seen in the replay. Let's go to the garage now to do a brief recap on the tank itself.
Let's do a brief recap on the Swedish Tier 8 TD. This TD, like its predecessor, it have a lot of the same traits. Quite low to the ground, fantastic camouflage rating, with the firepower, mobility, and the view range to match it. Like its predecessor, as long as you use the correct tactics on the map, you can easily do quite well in this tank. It is important to know when to move, when to relocate, and use the terrain around you to do quite well in this tank, as due to its poor armor value it have, you can be killed easily enough if you're at the wrong place at the wrong time. This tank, with the fantastic uh, mobility of it, you can easily switch one location to another, so you should take advantage of that if you can, based upon the map you are on. In general, this TD, it's a pretty easy TD to use once you get used to the siege mode, the travel mode, and the hang of it, so you can do quite well in this tank. The Tier 9 and 10 TD that come after this, they generally have a familiar play style as well, with slightly better stats. Overall, this is a pretty good TD once you get used to the vehicle strengths and weaknesses. I hope that you learn a thing or two about the Swedish Tier 8 TD, the UDES 03, and how to use it properly. If you like this video, leave a like, a comment, and even subscribe to my channel as well. Have a good day, everyone.